G'day, I've been NotJah Witness here, taking a few moments to contemplate some thought-provoking questions for atheists by the ever-talented Wonder Lady. If you haven't heard of her, you are slow to the party. She has some absolutely amazing content. We have a lot to get through here, so I've split it into two parts. Time is wasting, so let's get right into this. What apologetic has bored you to numbness? Certainly some of the insane bullshit people try and pull to explain a flat earth model. I've got to the point where I won't bother going into it too much, instead just sit back and giggle to myself over it all. What is the weakest apologetic? For me, it might be when a J-dub mentions that they have the truth. Do religious places hurt or help communities? I think inherently the places themselves are of no more harm or help than any other community hall. It would depend more on the organisation and people running it. It would be easier if they were required to pay taxes and release organisational data in the way that corporations do. As it stands, there can be positives and negatives, but very little clarity as there is such diversity to places of worship. Do you think religion fills a useful role in society? Not in any way that could not be accomplished through healthier means. What is your favourite question to ask believers? I like to ask what you believe, how you came to that belief, and what evidence supports or challenges those beliefs. It is a simple approach, but unless the person is completely unwilling to converse, there is usually always some form of productive conversation to be had, and maybe even an opinion change by the end. What do you think you need to live a good life or a moral life? I think both of those terms have little actual meaning in their typical sense. They are fun to throw around and use, but when talking seriously, morality is just your own subjective view of right and wrong, good and bad. The concepts of good and bad are no more than an animal's instinct towards survival, be it individual or herd, weighing the benefits and drawbacks to any particular action. Each person has their own idea of good, bad, moral and immoral for a reason, be that a good or bad reason. When is the last time you attended a kingdom hall, which is what Jehovah's Witnesses call their church, place of worship? At the start of the year, when I recorded a baptism talk given by a witness that I grew up with to expose on YouTube, I still feel a little bit bad about that, but he is peddling bullshit, so I had to do it. How do you feel about religious holidays? I will go much further into this for another video, but I still kind of hate them. They don't excite me or interest me. I grew up with awful experiences of them, and so now that I don't have to deal with it in my face, I tend to ignore them now for the most part, so that I think less of the bullshit that I dealt with in my past. Were you ever religious? Yes, I think we all know that though. Is atheism a faith? It depends on your definition of atheism. If we take it to its extremes and say it's the absolute rejection of any possibility of a god or higher being of any kind, then it would be a faith in that it takes a step further than our actual contemporary understanding. If we are talking atheism as in simply not knowing of a god or seeing evidence or reason to believe, then no, it is not faith. It is but a reasoned conclusion based on the evidence we have so far. What do you think about the atheist community? There isn't much of one. There are different fragmented groups, and we either hold to different labels or none. If someone is an atheist, is that enough to consider them friend? Absolutely not. I will unfriend you now for suggesting such a thing. Are there leaders in the atheist community? If so, why are they leaders? There are leaders in the sense of intellectual leaders, those who have furthered our understandings of such, like Hitchens, Dawkins, even Aaron Ra and Richard Carrier, but I would not consider them leaders in the sense they lead any movement or are to be bowed down to or worshipped or even followed in any way. How do you define atheist? Me, personally, simply not knowing of or not seeing any reasonable evidence for a god or gods. Can you believe in woo and be an atheist? Sure, but it's dumb as fuck. Is it okay for an atheist to criticize an atheist? Absolutely. Who in the community would you pick to speak for your belief system, if anyone at all? Myself. I speak for myself. How secular is your social group? Given you are all my social group at the moment, it's pretty sexular. Can you honestly leave out politics when discussing atheism? It depends what you mean by politics. Political issues would be discussed, but not the politics or parties or politicians. I think talking about religion brings up more issues with politics than talking about atheism does. I find, though, that this will change greatly depending on where you're from. Do you have to be nice to believers? No, but I am anyway because I was one. Is the conversation more important than the idea itself? Without the conversation, you can't help work on another person's ideas. Without conversation, you can't improve your own ideas. But without having any idea, there would be no conversation. How many different labels for atheists do you know? 42. Is the word atheist specific enough for you? No, but I prefer not to label myself unless it is to simplify or make convenient for people's understanding of another point that I'm trying to make. I'm just me and I have thoughts that go on top of the facts I know. That is all. Is there a difference between atheism and agnosticism? Sure, but they can also be used in conjunction with each other. For example, you could label me an agnostic atheist. That being said, everybody has different interpretations of these labels, hence why I just avoid them if I can. So that is the first part. We have lots to come, so keep an eye out for the next one. I would love it if you all checked out Wonderlady's channel. She has several great shows, such as her Atheist Questions and her series Subversion of Sex-Based Misogyny you won't want to miss. Her channel link will be down below. Make sure to leave any of your thoughts in the comments section below. If you agree, disagree, or wish to correct me, feel free. Plus, if you have any other topics you want me to cover or dig deeper into, leave your suggestions down there too. I am on the Facebook and the Twitter machine, and NotJah Witness, if you wanted to get in touch with me there. And if you would like to see more on the JW's rather religious beliefs, as I do what I can to expose and refute them where I can, hit that like button and please subscribe. It's a huge help and it's always appreciated. I hope you all have a beautiful day. Thanks for watching, and remember, I'm the imaginary underworld apostate, NotJah Witness.
All I wanna do is live.